Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Warriors held trade talks for four-time NBA All-Star big man, report. The Golden State Warriors eyed Karl-Anthony Towns before the Minnesota Timberwolves shipped the four-time NBA All-Star big man to the New York Knicks, The Athletic's Anthony Slater reported on October 22. In the last couple of months, the Warriors and Minnesota Timberwolves had a conversation about Karl-Anthony Towns, league sources said, but it didn't go anywhere. The Timberwolves targeted a specific package from the New York Knicks that the Warriors didn't possess. There's no other obvious big name immediately available as the regular season arrives, Slater wrote. The Knicks had Donte DiVincenzo, the former Warriors guard, whom the Timberwolves wanted since last year's free agency. DiVincenzo signed a 2-year, $9.3 million deal with a player option on the second year with the Warriors during the 2022 NBA free agency. He outperformed his contract and declined his second-year option, which left the Warriors with limited resources to re-sign him. DiVincenzo chose between the Knicks and the Timberwolves during his free agency. He ultimately chose the Knicks because of his Villanova ties with Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart and after a conversation with Warriors star Stephen Curry, who reinforced his decision to go to New York and play with his college buddies. Had the Warriors been able to keep DiVincenzo, they would have a greater chance to land Towns than the Knicks. They made a run at Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James at the February trade deadline. Then, in the offseason, they tried to acquire former Los Angeles Clippers star Paul George and Utah Jazz's all-star forward Lauri Markkanen before the Towns talks. Let's keep it real, Curry said, per The Athletic. Most teams are probably not going to want to help us. Draymond Green agreed and commended Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. for his efforts in bringing another all-star to the Bay Area. He was very persistent in making the date work, Green said of Dunleavy, per The Athletic, referring to Dunleavy delaying the deadline on Chris Paul's $30 million team option, which would have been used as a salary ballast in the George trade. He did the job. Paul George wanted to come here. So, shout out to Mike. The Clippers just wouldn't do an opt-in and trade. Had the Warriors acquired George, they would have gone all in on Markkanen, Green suggested. The conversation was always about that possibility, Green continued. You get both of those guys, you make a huge splash. But the Clippers weren't really willing to play ball. Then Danny Ainge was being Danny Ainge. Their failure to land a star did not keep the Warriors off track in their free agency board. They added 3 veterans, who they strongly feel improved their roster on the edges. According to the Athletic report, DeAnthony Melton was the Warriors' top free agent target, along with Kyle Anderson. Melton said the Warriors' front office was in his agent's office within 20 minutes of free agency starting, Slater wrote. Dunleavy was also the prime mover in acquiring Kyle Anderson from the Timberwolves. Look, Kyle Anderson's a hell of a player, Kerr remembered Dunleavy telling him, per The Athletic. We should turn our sights on him and a couple of these other guys, turn our cap space and flexibility into good players, and let it sort out from there. Despite not landing their star targets, the Warriors believe they have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. Their 6-0 preseason record backed it up. Now, the question is how deep they can go in the playoffs with only Curry as their star surrounded by this deep supporting cast. Warriors plan to keep breaking NBA tradition after opener. As many as 14 Warriors checked into the opening night victory against the Blazers on Wednesday night, with a dozen of those players clocking double-digit minutes. Typically, coaches empty the bench in blowout games, which was the case with Golden State routing Portland by a margin of 139-104. However, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr revealed after the game that he plans to continue using a 12-man rotation going forward in a league where it's customary to play no more than 10. We're going to do it, Kerr said, via The Athletic's Anthony Slater. I've never played 12 before, but we're going to do it. It's not easy. It's not easy on anybody, but we just have to trust that from one night to the next, we're going to find guys and combinations that really work. And the guys have to understand that some night it's their night, and some nights it's not. Kerr said he made the call to field a deep lineup Monday when he told Lindy Waters and Guay Santos that they weren't going to be in the rotation. The longtime Golden State coach was initially considering a 10-man rotation, but the Warriors' off-season acquisitions, DeAnthony Melton, Buddy Hield and Kyle Anderson, have forced his hand. 2 days ago, I was thinking maybe I'll play 10 and just have to tell 2 of these guys they're going to sit. I couldn't justify that because they've all played really well in camp, Kerr added. Many analysts have compared the 2024-25 iteration of the Warriors to the 2013-14 and 2014-15 teams that lived by the strength in numbers mantra and routinely had up to 10 players in the rotation. While the strategy could work, Kerr faces the danger of stunting the growth of prized young stars such as Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, who were expected to take on bigger roles this season. On Wednesday, Pods played 25 minutes off the bench, while Kuminga logged 20 as the starting small forward. If Kerr continues his 12-man rotation, it's hard to foresee either youngster averaging 30 minutes per game this season. Potential Jimmy Butler trade includes Warriors as suitor. The Golden State Warriors seem content with their roster. However, as with everything else, such a disposition is subject to change. A recent story revealed how Warriors general manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. put their foot on the pedal to acquire a star talent. However, as the Warriors refuse to trade future assets for a SOSO star, how about one that's led his team to multiple NBA Finals? According to Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald, it's plausible Jimmy Butler will either enter free agency or become the main chip in a trade. The expectation at this point is that Butler will pass on the extension even if the Heat offers it, according to sources, and then opt out of his current contract to become a free agent next summer, Chang reported. Although the report didn't explicitly mention the Warriors as a trade candidate, the tea leaves suggest the dynastic franchise fits Butler, given his age and playoff experience. As the Warriors continue to attempt to balance the young generation with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, each passing season proves how futile it could be to waste their franchise saviors' twilight seasons on growth rather than results. However, with Butler on the Warriors, his blunt but well-meaning approach to basketball aligns with Green and Curry's mission to win at all costs. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Jimmy Butler? Leave your opinion in the comments.